Okay, students, in last lecture, we have gone through some finishing materials like plaster of Paris, then mortar. Now we are going to start with the new material, that is paints, varnishes, and distemper. As we know that paints, varnishes, or the distempers carry out the function to decorate the walls, or we can say directly, they can use to decorate the buildings. So paint is defined as a mechanical mixture consisting of pigments and the extenders dispersed in a dry oil is uh, called a vehicle. The vehicle is the film forming oil which holds the grains of the pigments and extenders together, which forms the body of the paint. So other ingredients like dryers, thinners, and the plasticizers also added in the paint to develop a certain qualities in the paints like a darkness, faintness, or thickness of the paints. So following are the types of the paints. First, oil paint, water paint. These are basically two main types of the paints. Then cement paint, plastic paint, aluminium paint, velvet finish, then elastic paint and enamel paints. So first, that is oil paint. It is a oil based paint with the oil as a liquid medium and applied in a three coats to the doors, windows, walls, ceilings, grills. These paints are washable one, but sometimes this having some disadvantages like it creates humidity or a hotness in the rooms. So that's why these are not preferred in residential buildings, but nowadays some changes are made, that's why we can utilize it for interior as well as for the exterior. Then water paints, here water used as a vehicle along with the coloring pigments, chalks and glues. They are white or colored and used for the internal walls. Then cement paints, it consists of white cement pigments, accelerator and other additives. They are used for painting a plastered brickwork, stone masonry and the concrete surfaces, the external walls of the buildings. They are highly resistant to the weathering agencies such as the rain and sunshine. Then enamel paint, it contains a white lead, oil, petroleum, spirit and resins. It is used for the external as well as internal walls. Now we see some ads in which the enamel paints are preferred and advertised because this having a good we can say qualities. That's why these nowadays can be utilized because they are water resistant and easily washable, and that's why enamel paints are utilized one. Then emulsion, it contains a binding material such as a polyvinyl acetate, synthetic resins. This paint is recommended for the painting a plastered brickwork, stone masonry and the concrete. Then paints are also divide or differentiate because of its purposes, like first decorative and building paints, second industrial and the marine paints. So decorative paints, first the flat will paint for interior decorators, second the exterior house paints, third masonry finish paint, floor paints, then white line paints for factories and road lines, then heat and fire resistant paints and aluminum paints. They are included in the decorative and building paints. Then industrial and marine paints, first chlorinated rubber paints which are resistant to the water and chemicals. Then second urethane oils, then ship paints, anti-conditioner paints and anti-fouling paints. So these are included in these two types. Then how the oil paints are prepared. The pigment is mixed up with the sufficient quantity of vehicle to have a proper consistency in a mixture with the rotating blades. The paste is fed into a paint mill to have ultimate dispersion of the pigment and vehicle. First, after the grinding operation, the paint is subjected to the through different steps. Like first it is mixed up with the desired amount of the rest of raw materials and remaining vehicle in a mixer and passed. Then for batch tining where the desired color is added. Then for testing the paint for the physical and other properties desired for the adequate performance. Then for staining operation where the foreign particles are removed and for filling up and packing with the view to marketing. So these are the steps for the preparation. First of all, they mixed up with the amount of raw materials and then remaining vehicle or the mixed then remaining vehicle or the paint is mixed up in the rotating mixer. Then for tining it means color preparation. When in tining process the faint color is get into its desired colored and it will becomes a thinner one. Then for staining operation where the foreign particles means the other particles are removed out and for filling and packing with the view of marketing. Then types of oil paints are they are of these types. First, hard durable type which are applicable for the furniture and interior use. Then durable type for the automobile. Then flexible type for the fabrics. Then properties of the paints are it should have a high hiding power to hide the surface below. Then it should be able to resist the atmospheric condition to which it will be exposed. Then film produced by the paint must be washable. It should have a required color. It should be resist the corrosion when applied to the metals. Then it should produce a glossy film. Then it should be durable. Should not be crack, shrink, or peel off. Then it should have enough resisting power. So that are the properties of the paint that makes it useful. Then what are the constituent of oil paint and their function? First, base or the pigment. It is solid substance which forms a paint when added to a drawing oil. It is principal constituent because it is added uh, in a colored pigments to give a good quality of color. Then thickness or the we can say a thinness to the color pigments. The natural pigment consists of minerals like clay, chalk, talc, mica, etc. Then synthetic pigment consists of chemicals like a zinc oxide, white lead, titanium oxide, etc. The white lead or the zinc oxide, titanium, these are color forming compounds while which can be added to the white paints. The important pigment color wise are blue, the cobalt blue, Persian blue, green, etc. or the chromium oxide, chrome green or the yellow are added. Then extended or the fillers. So pigments basically carried out the function like to protect the film by reflecting the ultraviolet light. Then it imparts an aesthetic appeal. Then it gives the resistance to the paint against the abrasion and minimize the shrinkage and cracking. Then next that is extender or the fillers. It is added to the paint to lower the cost of the paint. Common raw materials used as extended are the china clay, talc, asbestos, mica, gypsum, zinc oxide. Then barytes, charcoal, silicates, and aluminium. What is the function of the extenders? To impart the excessive hiding power to the paint, to reduce the cracking, and to act as an substances for the pigment colors. The next that is vehicle. It is the liquid substances which when mixed up with the pigment forms a paint. It is a film forming and binding a medium. The raw materials used in the vehicle are license oil, then soybean oil, castor oil, and fish oil. So what is the function? To hold and spread the pigments on the surface. to form a protective film which is formed by evaporation or by oxidation and polymerization of the unsaturated constituent. Then thinner, it is a volatile liquid added to a dilute thinners and turpentine alcohol. The mineral spirits and xyl are the example of the thinner. The function of the thinner are to suspend the pigments, to dissolve film forming materials, to dilute the concentrated paints for spreading, to impart the better covering power. So these are the functions of the thinner. Then dryer, usually dryers are utilized in home bases also. It is a substance which is added to promote oxidation of the vehicle and accelerate the drying. The dryers are naphthalates, then emitters of lead, cobalt, manganese, zinc, then litharge, massicot, and the lead accelerate. The function of the dryer are act as an oxygen carries and to accelerate the drying of the oil through oxidation and polymerization. These are the function of the dryers. Then anti-skimming agents, it is substance added to prevent the shrinkage. They are generally polyhydroxyl phenol. Function of the anti-skimming agent are to prevent the skimming and gelling of the paints. Then plasticizers. It has a substance added to the paint to induce the elasticity. They are generally oils or triphenyl phosphate or the tricresyl phosphate etc. Function of that are to impart the elasticity and minimize the cracking. So that is the main function of plasticizer. So what are the overall uses of the paints? To cover the iron grills and gates, to prevent the iron from the corrosion or the rusting, to increase the durability of the building walls and iron articles. They provide the good appearance of the desired color to the wall of the building to make the wall waterproof. So that is the functions of the distempers. So they are also called as a water paints. So next that is a distemper, which is also called as a water paints. They are prepared by mixing a chalk, color pigments and glue in a water. They are white in a color. Then the distempers are used as a substance for a whitewashing. So this is costlier one because they are durable and give a smoother and pleasing appearance. They are generally used for the interior walls of the building. If used externally, they are affected by the atmosphere. Then types of distemper. First, white distempers, then colored distemper, then dry distemper and oil bound distemper. So what is the uses of distemper? The distempers are uses to cover the internal walls of the building. Then second, to prevent, sorry, to paint the building from the outside of the area. Okay, so that are the functions of the distempers. Then varnishes and their uses. Varnishes is defined as a colloidal dispersion or the solution of the synthetic and the natural resins in oil or thinner. Then when it is applied on the surface, it gives the transparent film which is dried up by evaporation in oxidation and polymerization. The oxidation and polymerization of its constituents. When only thinner is used as a solvent, then the film dries by evaporation. The natural resins are amber, shellac, copal, while the synthetic one is easier, that is the gums, phenolic resins, and alkyd resins. So that is the examples of thinners. Then difference between the paints and varnishes. That is also important. First, the varnishes do not contain a pigment. Then the varnishes do not contain a pigment, then in varnishes oil is replaced by resins in a part or even